Hey, welcome to the Weed Out, where we weed out the bullshit and talk about the nonsense that's happening in our backyard. I'm your host, Spencer Fox Peterson, rolling solo today. Just wanted to check in. It's been about 3 months since we last spoke. Hope everybody's doing okay. A lot has changed since October. We've had an election, a federal election, and things didn't go swimmingly for the Democrats. And as you probably no, the weed out is not shocked. We were predicting this because of their lurch word right. And, on this podcast, we tend to focus on local issues. Unfortunately, with the Orange Menace, Trump 45 back in the office, um, we have to continue being vigilant. He's doing ICE raids. If you're in food service, there's going to be potential for federal agents coming in looking to sweep people up. Very Nazi Germany, very uncool, in my opinion. This is all happening, and I blame the Democrats. I'm going to say it real straight. I blame them. Fuck you guys for giving us no choice in general, like, Republican or Republican light. Both parties are completely captured by capital interests. The SCOTUS is clearly captured by said capital interests. How many of them have been credibly accused of taking bribes from billionaires? Elon Musk is sitting in the White House. He has direct access. He did a fucking Nazi salute. That's a Nazi salute. End of story. So all this is happening. What does this have to do with Western Mass? What does that have to do with the Berkshires? What does this have to do with Holyoke, Massachusetts? Seemingly nothing, but everything all at once. We need to move away from blaming voters. So your MAGA friend, whatever. Yeah, I don't want to be friends with them. I don't. But the reality is, either choice is going to end up with Gaza flattened, with hardship for people all over the world because of U.S. Foreign policy, which then boomerangs back and affects our domestic policy. That's why, why are all these immigrants here? First of all, they're people, they're not immigrants. Second of all, no person can be illegal. Borders are fucking fake. So I don't want to hear it. I hate it. I won't fucking even entertain it. But why are they displaced? That's our fault. Well, it's really our oligarchs' fault, but we have a responsibility to do something about it. Now, this big behemoth of an empire is gonna fucking crash and crumble around. So what can we do? In my opinion, granted, my opinion, I can't see the future. I don't know anything other than we got to stay focused on our neighbors, our local issues, and community. A strong community can hold out the federal government. The United States is a big fucking place, man. I know they got all the advantage, they got all the weapons, they got all the tech, they got everything, but we keep us safe. What does that look like? That means talking to your neighbors, know what's going on. What are people struggling with? And maybe you can help. Simple as that. Your neighbor just had a back surgery. If you know that, oh, let me take your trash out for you. There's a million things we can do. Revolution starts in your mind. My interpretation of the term, the revolution will not be televised. There's a bunch of different interpretations, and quite literally meaning like, they won't be around to record it because the system will fall apart. But in my mind, you can't televise what's going on inside your own head. The revolution starts in your head. So with that said, revolution and revolutionary mindset and radical mindset don't mean I'm going to kill a bunch of Nazis. I'm not Aldo Rain from Inglorious Bastards. I mean, punching Nazis and hurting Nazis is the only thing to do with them. So softened her take on Trump's immigration rhetoric. She's saying things like, we'll follow the law, yada, yada, yada. That doesn't mean standing up for people. Following the law, we have some really fucking draconian laws. So, like, that doesn't give me any sort of good feeling when somebody says they're going to follow the law. Well, at one point it was illegal to fucking drink booze. They had to make an amendment. It's like, what are laws? Laws are moving targets. Like, I don't really give a shit about that. What are your values? And she's neglecting to do that. And I'm not shocked. She's a snake. She works for billionaires. It's literally the least shocking thing that she talks a big game, and then when it comes time to actually do something, she's not going to. But I am heartened to hear that in my city that I reside, Holyoke, Massachusetts, one of the largest Puerto Rican populations in the country. It's obviously Puerto Ricans are American citizens. Sadly, we learned in this last election cycle, a lot of people, including people like President Trump, did not know that. Now, people in Puerto Rico don't have a say in the presidential election because they're not a state, they're a territory. They have their own governing system, colonial governing system. It's fucked up. I'm sure you could talk to a lot of people about that. There's a lot of information out there about there. So if you're curious about that, I suggest looking into it. But in Holyoke, so you'd think a lot of right wingers be like, they care about immigrants there. They don't have to. As a culture and a community, they don't have to, but they understand overall. I think this community understands, at least the working class Puerto Rican side has a little more empathy than, say, the average right wing MAGA. And even though they don't have to be in that position, they could easily jump on the MAGA train as citizens, right? Like they could easily say, "Make America Great Again." But the mayor, who is the first Puerto Rican mayor who I've been at odds with, has made some strong statements, and so is the superintendent. So I'm going to start there with today's episode. I'm just going to read this headline from Mass Live. Holyoke Mayor, superintendent take actions suppressing support for immigrants. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. But basically, I was disheartened with Maura Healey, the governor of Massachusetts. Very disappointed, and I'm glad that the mayor is taking some more supportive action. So I have it up on the screen. It's a Mass Live article, so take it with a grain of salt. In response to changes in federal immigration policy, the mayor and superintendent of Holyoke schools said they were committed to protecting the rights of all residents in their city. Basically, it's behind a paywall, but we are affirming our commitment to ensure the rights and protections of all immigrant families recently imperiled by recent announcements at the federal level. So they're actually addressing it. I'm shocked because Josh, Mayor Garcia, Josh, as I call him, and I, like I said, have been at odds. Technically, this podcast is blocked by Mayor Garcia on social media because we kept pressing him publicly on all his posts about his affiliation, accused sexual assaulter, Captain Reyes of the Holyoke, formerly of the Holyoke Police, but conveniently retired right before any punishment could be handed down. Captain Reyes, as a reminder, was on Josh Garcia's transition team as a representative of the Holyoke Police Department. I'm under the impression, I don't have any proof on this, but I've been hearing that, they're colloquial, like they know each other outside of professional means. I don't know if that means their family or their families know each other, or his brother, one of their brothers is friends with one of the other. I don't know. But the point is, it's a small town, small city. And in my opinion, Josh Garcia did the man a solid and slow walk the investigation, really stonewalled the community and pretended like they were handling it, but gave him an opportunity to escape with his money. Captain Reyes, that is. That's my outlook on this. So, gladly, we've talked about it on previous episodes, Joanna and I. It's plenty of information. The Shoestring has written about it. So is New England Public Media. This is not a quiet case, and that's why it's so pathetic. Josh Garcia, it will block a tiny little podcast in his city because we're like, yo, why are you protecting this guy? Yo, why are you protecting this guy? I'm sorry, I'm ruining your little fucking tweets announcing your stupid statues, but fuck you. Why are you protecting a sexual assaulter? As a manager of people, which he claims that's what he, his specialty is. In my meeting with him a couple years ago now, that he believes in stepping back and letting people make their mistakes and then assessing, et cetera, stuff like that. Standard big picture manager talk from the mayor. And I think that he is a human being who has blind spots, and that's understandable from a human level, but he's protecting monsters. I'm glad that he's saying the right thing in a climate that it would be convenient for him to either be silent or say something like Maura Healey did. We will follow the law. Again, I know it sounds innocuous. I know maybe I sound crazy, but the following the law thing is a fucking dog whistle, guys. That is an imperialist, colonialist bullshit. It was illegal to be a fucking witch. What is a law? I'm going to say that till I'm fucking blue in the face. Now, all this is happening. And I'm guessing the community in Holyoke writ large, and Josh Garcia does have his finger on the pulse. I will say that. Like, he definitely has good connections with the community. He knows what the average person is feeling. And unfortunately, the average American is a little right wing and a little pro police because of our conditioning. So he is, in theory, listening to them. But, my opinion, the leader leads. They don't blindly follow the demands of their constituents. It's a balancing act between leading and listening. And sometimes your community members, the loudest ones, are fascists, and he listens to them too much. Some people can be fucking disregarded, in my opinion. Now, all that said, he has also recently announced his intent to run again. So we are in the first term, and he is going to run again. And I was under the impression he would probably want to be, looking for a wider office. So maybe he claims, in announcing bid for second term, Holyoke Mayor Garcia says, quote, "Work is far from over." Saying that serving a mayor is the greatest honor of his life, Joshua Garcia intends to seek a second term this fall. His first campaign before the 2021 election touted himself as the best candidate to tackle problems facing the city, including chronic violence, poverty, tax delinquencies, crumbling infrastructure, and a history of low academic performance in school. Excuse me. Again, I have this on the YouTube video, so if you guys want to read what I have up on the screen, you more than can. And some things he has done has been good. Like, it is good to have representation, is good. Like, it is really gross, like every previous mayor just being, whether they were young or old, they were old guard Irish white guys, and or into the Irish community. Maybe they weren't necessarily Irish, but it's been a long tradition of a city that is 50% Puerto Rican, and it's the largest concentration of Puerto Ricans outside of the island. And it's a damn shame it took until 2021, but they finally have a mayor that looks like them. But again, not always good. I mean, this man transferred COVID funds to the police. He covered up all sorts of police malfeasance. His police have still been unaccountable during his tenure. He spent a whole bunch of money to get a consulting team in to do an audit of the police department to tell us what we already fucking know. There's rampant sexism. There's abuse of power. There's abuse of there's all the standard police abuses. It's like we didn't need to spend a couple $100,000 on this. And these consultants are ex-cops. So, like, what are they really doing here? They're just whitewashing their fucking bullshit. So, my call out to the community is, can somebody please challenge this mayor from the left? It's not going to be me. Let's be real. We don't need any more people like me in public office. Okay. There's enough fucking blowharded white dudes. Like, we're good there. Right. But I would really, really like somebody to push Garcia, because the last election was between him and Sullivan. If I recall, Sullivan is very right wing, very Christian nationalist coded. I don't know his true beliefs, but that's, if you were to look at him, that's what you'd guess. Fair or unfair, fair or unfair. Sorry, Sully. But so apparently Garcia beat him by 6% margin. So that's good. But the only real thing, Josh is really touting is this quote unquote state of the art facility to house International Volleyball Hall of Fame. He's going to spend a bunch of infrastructure, public dollars for that. And I don't know. I'm not like, can we just make sure our water's clean? Like, why is every fucking week am I getting a notification in the summertime that there's, they dump sewage into the fucking Connecticut River? Like, literally, can we spend the money on things that fucking make our lives better? You know, and some people would argue this brings economy here. Whatever, dude. Like, can we just make sure the fucking water's clean? Can we invest in community internet, municipal internet? Like, I'm getting fucked by Comcast like every year. It's some bullshit, and you have to fight with them, and you can get $30 knocked off. And I don't have anything crazy, just regular internet, right? But like, come on, we all need internet. Why? Like, we have electricity, we have municipal water. Why don't we have municipal internet? I don't know. Makes no fucking sense. Infrastructure here, the public infrastructure is good. Like, it's relatively good. It's better than other places. Like, when we lose power, it's not out for very long. And for all the strings Holyoke has, the cost of utilities is low because we share the costs. Socialism, I guess some people will call it. I don't know. Like, it just makes sense. If we all have to fucking use it, then we all split it, and it shouldn't be for profit. Same should go for food. Same should be for water, and healthcare, and housing. I guess those are the four big things. So I don't see any big ideas from Josh. It's more neoliberal austerity politics. It's nothing impressive, but compared to the Mike Sullivans and the Kevin Jourdains and the Van fucking Linda Vakin of Holyoke, I'll take it. I don't like it. I don't like that he's a coward. I don't like that he's afraid of quote unquote media. Say what you want about the Weed Out podcast. We're not very big, but it's weird that you wouldn't want to hear from me, from us, your constituency, that we have Holyoke people who listen to this podcast. Now you're just letting me have free reign to tell the truth about how you're a coward, Josh. So I'm glad that you're standing up for the immigrant population, and that you're gonna not let cops into schools, ICE into schools. Let's take us the next step further. No SROs in schools. They don't keep people safe. All right. They've never stopped a school shooting. They tend to fucking be molesting the students. Like, if you just Google SROs, like, dude, it's crazy. So, Josh, if you're listening, you're not. Please do something fucking different for once in your life, man. Like, it's like, we don't need more austerity. Okay. We need radical investment and radical fighting for the working class. Now, my point of view is that's not going to happen, but I think it's important that somebody says it. And if y'all want to reach out to Josh and let him know and think it's fucked up that he has us blocked, that'd be cool. I'd really like that. And Josh, you're always welcome to come on the show. I'm not going to be nice about it, but you're always welcome to come on the show. So next article that I have here regarding Holyoke it's kind of a funny one for me anyways. You know how I feel about cops, right? Well, this fucking fascist died, so that's cool. Apparently he died a couple days ago. He was the former chief of Auxiliary Police Division, and he brought that division to be the largest and most active auxiliaries in Western Massachusetts. Wow, quite the legacy. You just found a way to burn more money on dudes with guns that have a higher inclination of beating their family. Okay, cool. So this man was born in 1938. And he lived 86 wonderful, long-ass years. He was in the Army National Guard, so he's a class traitor 2 times over. He worked for the Wall Street Journal, so he's a fucking professional liar. Great. So basically, yeah. Rest in fucking piss. I'm glad you're fucking dead. I don't know you, but your legacy to me is disgusting. So that's my good news about Holyoke. We have another dead Nazi. Sorry to his family. Your fucking granddaddy was a piece of shit. He had an unhonorable job. So I'm going to pull up now an article from Western Mass News, ABC 40, Fox 6, CBS 3, with Maura Healey's guidance on how to deal with ICE. So, pulling it up on the screen. Okay. Massachusetts for schools if approached by ICE agents. Actually, this is the Mass Attorney General, Andrew Campbell, not Maura Healey. Maura Healey was previously Attorney General. As President Trump declares a national emergency at the southern border, we're beginning to see more ICE raids across the country. No shit. Under the Biden administration, programs were made to allow temporary status for those working for their paperwork to process, waiting for their paperwork to process. In a statement put out, oh no, that's Maura Garcia. We are affirming our commitment to ensure and protect the rights of all Holyoke residents and employees, and especially newcomer and immigrant families whose safety and well-being are now being imperiled by recent announcements at the federal level. Massachusetts Attorney General Andrew Campbell has also published a series of guidelines for school districts as they are approached by ICE agents. Notify the school administrators and the school parents should an agent ask to speak to a parent. ICE needs to show parental consent or judicial warrant to engage with the student. Schools are advised to withhold any student information from any third parties, including ICE, unless presented without a warrant. Now, this would seem common sense, but if you look into how ICE operates, they try to do shit without a judicial warrant all the time. So basically, they don't believe in the fucking Fourth Amendment. And the Supreme Court last session resolved a case that basically said Border Patrol now has jurisdiction within 100 miles of every border. Most of the United States lives within 100 miles of the border, whether you're on the coast, you're on the Canadian border, you're on the West Coast, you're on the southern border, or you're, in Florida and in the Gulf of Mexico. So yeah, they basically don't believe in the Fourth Amendment, the government's right or the process that the government has to go through to get the ability to break your Fourth Amendment to search your property or person with a warrant. So yeah, ICE is in my opinion, they're actual like the SS. They are stormtroopers that bash in people's doors and take children. They'll go into schools, but like look at Uvalde, Texas. They wouldn't go in and take out a gun. It's not the same department. It's the local police, but these police, whether they're ICE or local pigs, they'll gladly go and harass and mortify and objectify children to traumatic events, but they won't fucking do anything to stop them from having a traumatic event. Like if you're still arguing for police, like God willing, you get hit in the head and up, because honestly, there is no place for these fucking monsters. And who are these monsters? Who are these people ripping children away from their parents? Who are these people going to places of worship or schools and being like, come with me, you don't have your papers? Like, do you know how crazy that is? So, we'll take everything with a grain of salt, because we do live in a place where they'll actually say that they're going to protect these people. Now, will they? Can they? I don't know. Remains to be seen. Because Maura Healey has famously said over and over again, I'm going to follow the law. Fucking law means nothing, dude. It means nothing. The president was elected. He is convicted of fraud. He was found liable of sexual assault. Like, laws mean nothing when you have the guy who's the executor of said laws completely disregards everybody else. Like that dream is over. It was never real. But now, like, yeah, the SCOTUS has ruled that presidents can do unlawful acts as long as it's in the official capacity. Like, basically, if he deemed that there was terrorists in the Boston area and he dropped a fucking nuke on it, he would walk scot-free. Yeah. And we also have the Hague Invasion that was passed post 9/11 during the Patriot Act era, where basically if the ICC or ICJ tried to hold one of our people accountable, whether they're an Israeli soldier or they're an American soldier or they're an American politician, attorney general, whoever, we will invade the Hague to prevent that. So, like, we are an unlawful rogue nation. Period. End of story. Let's stop spreading the fucking lie that this is a free place, the beacon on the hill, the yada, yada, yada. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And I'm kind of glad, as terrifying as it is, that the Orange Menace, the fascist fucking freak, is where he is. I'm terrified, but it really rips off Biden, I think, has awful things, even by the white man laws. the Western laws. I think he did unlawful things, but he had some, a veneer of like statesmanship about it. And I'm not saying this is not defense of that man. Please do not take it that way. Do not take it that way. But like Trump has really exposed everything. So like, let's roll with this. Let's run with this. Let's point out that following the law doesn't mean shit. It means nothing. All right. What is a law? It's passed by some ghouls in a fucking building that they don't even care they almost got killed in. And they're pardoning the January 6th rioters, which they shouldn't have been in fucking jail in the first place, if you ask me. You just created more radicals, more martyrs by jailing them. And none of the architects got in trouble. None. Maybe Steve Bannon, but did he even get in trouble? I mean, he went to jail for not answering a fucking congressional subpoena. Whoop-de-fucking do. And people defy congressional subpoenas every fucking administrator or every Congress every 2 years. Like, it happens. And that's the worst thing that happened. Was Steve to jail for 30 days. Peter Navarro went to jail for 30 days. Trump got embarrassed, but that's about it. Like, and all these people had their lives fucking ruined. And, you could argue, and it's a good argument. They made that decision. They made their bed, okay? And that sucks. But, like, yeah, you caged them, and now they're radicalized further. They're further extremed, pushed to the extreme, the fringe. Good job, everybody. Good job. This is why neoliberals and liberals, they play footsie with fascists, but they can't go all the way through with it. And it ends up just creating more fascists and more fucking writers and more authoritarians and more people just going, I guess democracy doesn't fucking work. Again, I don't think we've ever had a true democracy here in the West. We've had semblances of it. We have ideas of it. We have aspirations of it. But whatever aspiration is, it's gone. It's gone. Whatever we could have held on to is long gone. And that's okay. Let's use it as an excuse to rebuild, fire cleansing, everybody. Okay. So that's just this week's mini episode of The Weed Out. I just wanted to update you on what's going on with these fucking weirdos and these fascists. In conclusion, get to know your neighbors. Find out what is happening in your neighborhood. It will make you feel more grounded, more in control. It will create relationships and community. And, like the worst case scenario, like apocalyptic movie thing happens, you have some network in your neighborhood, try not to be so isolated if you can. We got to work on this. We have to undo some of the things that have been compounded by capitalism, technology, and, recent events like the pandemic, where we've really been isolated from one another. And the internet, it's great, but we got to have these conversations in person, and we got to find out what makes our neighborhood work. Because nobody's coming, no politician, no God, no rapture, nothing. It's just us and the strongest community together. So that's Spencer with The Weed Out. We'll be back. Joanna's got some stuff in the works. Look forward to hearing from everybody, and I hope you keep weeding out the bullshit. And as always, you can find us at www.theweedout.com, find us on social media, and you can always shoot us an email at theweedout@gmail.com. Again, I'm Spencer Fox Pierce, The Weed Out. Keep weeding out the bullshit.